since 5:30 tonight. And we've already, we didn't go into executive session, so we are still in a regular session. Let's see. First order of business tonight would be if you would rise and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item, we have some approval of minutes from April 26th and May 10th. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion, comments, changes? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Oro?
Thank you. The next item is superintendent's presentations. Jonathan, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, a super exciting evening. We have a couple of celebrations, and they're both we're so proud of some of the work that our students have done. So the first student I would like to invite up would be, I think it's Sahana. Did I get that right, Sahana? Yes, Sahana, we would love for you to join us at the stand here, and I'll let Tracy, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy Carson, our Public Information Officer, to tell us a little bit about what you've accomplished, and then we're going to turn it over to you.
That's right. And just to give a little bit of context into Sahana Srikanth, who was a National Spelling Bee finalist in Mason, the first national finalist we've ever had from Mason City Schools. But beyond being a finalist, I think what is most impressive and makes having Sahana with us so special tonight is just how she lives comic culture. Sahana, part of when we talk about owning the moment and your story matters, what that means to us, there are behaviors that we're looking for. One of the behaviors as part of your story matters is believe in who you are and who you can become. And then another behavior is build on your strengths and learn from others. I think folks may not, you may have seen Sahana around because she has been participating in Spelling Bee since 3rd grade at Western Row. She won the bee for Mason when she was a 5th grader. And then the very next year was just so excited because she was set to represent the entire region. And then COVID happened. And the bees across the country were shut down, just like her school was. And she talked and shared with me that was hard. It was hard to have spent so much time working and studying. But more than that, I want her to tell a little bit about what the bees have meant to her and what spelling means, and not so much just learning to spell. But she came back from that. And I think that is the comic culture that we really appreciate and are so proud of you. Not only have you had this unparalleled success, but it was also knowing that it can be really disappointing and hard, and then what you do to be resilient and come back. So that's why we're thrilled to have you with us today. And I just want to ask you to start by just sharing a little bit. I think sometimes folks may think I think you even shared, sometimes people think spelling is just like rote memorization. Talk a little bit about what really, when you're preparing for the bee and any of these things at this level, this kind of high-level academic preparation, what it actually is.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I really appreciate it. So, like Ms. Carson said, my name is Sahana. I'm actually an upcoming freshman, so I'm graduating in 2026. So the spelling bee has probably been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I've learned so much more than just words through this experience. People have this misconception that studying for the spelling bee is like you learn a list of words, you memorize it, and then you forget it after the bee. But for me, it's been so much more than that. The way that you study, and this applies to school as well, that basically shapes the way that you learn your information. So for me, I would learn my words through exploring cultures, and I would explore the history of different places, the different dances and foods and music that went on in the regions, not just the words that were in that area, because that helps you solidify your language abilities. So for me, I would go and delve deeper into Latin and Greek, and it became like an immersive like history experience more than just learning a few words in a set. And why that's important is because, first of all, this builds your long-term response of the language, and it gives you a more deeper understanding. So, for example, in school, if you were to learn something just for the intent of acing a test or just to pass a grade, that is not very helpful for you in your future. And what Spelling Bee has taught me is that the more that I work towards my goals, the more effort that I put into something, and the deeper my knowledge is, the more beneficial it will be for me in the future. And so when I was exploring my abilities in spelling, I learned that I had like a talent for it at a very young age. And the way that I continued was dealing with disappointment. And something that the Spelling Bee teaches you is that you cannot always expect yourself to win at everything, and you have to be lenient with yourself. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes to grow from. And so when I was in 3rd grade, I participated in my first school bee, and I was really young, and I placed 3rd in the school bee. And of course, I was happy with myself, but there's always an element of disappointment when you don't win. So if I had stopped there and I had said, I'm done, I faced disappointment, I can't move on from this, I would not be here where I am today. So what I did from that experience is I used it to motivate myself to keep going. And I was like, okay, next year we're going to be back here and we're going to do even better. So when I was in 4th grade, I placed 3rd again, and I was almost at the verge of quitting because I felt really frustrated because I had put a lot of effort into it. But then I reached the age of 5th grade, and I was like, we're going to go all in. So I dedicated most of my time to studying, and I won my school bee for the first time. And it's those moments of like pure joy that like I look forward to, because it just feels like all your work has like culminated and it's worth it. And that feeling is the best because you kind of validate yourself. So from there, from 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, I've won my school bees. And for 7th and 8th grade, I proceeded to the regional bee, and I won. So in 7th grade, I qualified for nationals for the first time, and nationals was actually online because they canceled it due to the health procedures going on in 2020. So they didn't want to eliminate the bee fully, but they had to do a mixed experience. So while I was preparing for the bee, I, as usual, went all in and invested my time, but I ended up misspelling on the 3rd word I got, and that created this huge disappointment for me. I felt like I didn't do enough. I was really disappointed with myself, and I felt like I could have done so much better. So this year, my main goal going into the bee was to learn from that experience and be calm under pressure, and to learn from those experiences to make sure that I could do my absolute best at the bee. So the main thing that you take from disappointment is that you should be more tolerant with yourself, put a little bit more effort in where you can, and just understand that there's always a luck element. And in spelling, there's definitely a luck element. And for me, I've definitely learned that by watching other spellers compete. When you are sitting on a stage and you see so many other people spelling words that you know, but your word is something that you've never seen before, you kind of comprehend that there's an element of luck to everything. So that allowed me to understand that no matter where I go in life, there's always that element of luck, and that's why you have to be even more lenient with yourself, because you have to understand that not everything is under your control. So I feel like attending spelling bees and participating in spelling bees has made me more mature and confident with myself, because I've gained a deeper understanding of what it means to learn things and grow from your mistakes. And it's helped me be more eloquent when I'm speaking, and I always get comments about how I'm able to talk so fluently under pressure, and it's because of the confidence that I've gained being on stage during spelling bees, and I'm so grateful for that. And so this year, to be a finalist, I was absolutely not expecting it. Bee Week was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. I learned so much, and I had so much fun. And people always say, just go have fun with it. It doesn't matter the outcome. And I never believed that you could be happy with yourself if you didn't win. But now it's kind of shown that you can be happy with yourself if you allow yourself to be. So when I went in, I was talking like to myself. I was saying, it's okay if you get out in the first round. Just be okay. Because I knew that I invested so much time into this. I had spent like 10 to 12 hours a day on top of school preparing for this, and it was like my be-all and end-all, and I was like, we have to do our absolute best because 8th grade is your last year of eligibility. So when I attended the bee and I qualified for quarterfinals after my 3 preliminary words, I was like, mind exploded. I was like, oh my gosh, we've done so much better than last year. How is this even possible? So my first response was, we should be proud of ourselves. So the Bee Week teaches you to have fun while also being able to focus and study. So the way that B-Week is structured is you arrive at Gaylord on one of the days of the week, and you leave after all of the events are over. So I arrived on Monday, and it was absolutely amazing. I was speechless at the way that Scripps had set up everything, because their main goal, you can tell, is to ensure that you have fun and that all your work has paid off. They have no intent other than to make sure you're happy at the end of the week. And when you go there, the community of spellers is absolutely amazing. Everybody is so supportive, and they just show so much culture amongst themselves. And when you go there, you have like an instant connection with everybody, because nobody is talking down to you. There's no discouragement. Nobody says, oh, you misspell on a word, you're so like incompetent. Nobody ever says that. Instead, we always uplift each other. We're always saying, oh my gosh, you did so amazing. We're so proud of you. And that's part of why it's so important to understand that you can still be happy with yourself if you don't win, because other people and their response to you teaches you that, look, other people are proud of me, so I should be proud of myself. And that's so important with the community B-Week builds. So when we arrive in Gaylord, they have so many events set up for you. They have like arts and crafts, they have like biking, they have explore the city, they have coding, and they have so many different experiences for you to bond with other spellers and make new memories and experiences in the area. And that's amazing, because it allows you to just have fun, because at that point, there's not much more you can do to prepare. So after you finish your events, they had preliminaries on Tuesday, quarterfinals on Wednesday, and semifinals, and then the finals were on Thursday. And when I was on that stage during finals, the only thing going on in my head was, be calm, you've done a great job, and that's what you tell each other too. And I've made the most friends that I have at B-Week, because there are 234 other spellers there from across the world, and when you go there, everybody's so ready to make friends that you're all just so sociable with each other. And I've talk to people across the country and share my experiences, and it's so great to see that other people have also been through what I've gone through. You see what other words other people have learned, what other like talents other people have, and it shows you that people are not just solely spellers. People have different variety of interests. Like for me, I'm not just a speller. I play the piano, I play the violin, I dance as well. I'm into music and art and coding, and so many other people are as well, and they play sports and they do music, and it's so eye-opening for me, because I was never exposed to so many like people on a national level, and the spelling bee has taught me to just aim higher. And being at that national level, being one of a select students in the entire country and the entire world is so enlightening, because it shows you that you're capable of doing more if you put in the effort. And now I have higher goals, I have higher expectations of myself, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I want to do in the future. And my main goal in life is to just make sure that people are aware that every experience matters, and everything you've done, no matter what you've been doing, is worth it. And I am so grateful for the spelling bee experience, and it's been a complete and utter joy every moment of my experience. Thank you so much.
Sahana, if you would stay just a second, I think the board would want to just make a few comments, if that's
Yeah,
okay. And
of course.
Okay, great.
We are so glad that you're here. We're so proud of you, but the most touching thing for me is that you get that life is full of experiences. And even if you don't come in first, every single time you try to compete for something, you get something out of it. It has value to you. And I think the most wonderful point that you made is what you're doing and what you're seeing value in. You're doing things that are making you happy. I've always told my kids, your education is going to be the key to you picking something that you want. It's going to give you the flexibility to choose something that you love to do for the rest of your life. It sounds to me like you've got it all figured out. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm a little curious about your process and studying, and maybe even, whether on just a normal day versus on, B day, game day, if you have different, strategies, and what a day in the life of Sahana looks like for the typical student.
Right. So I think during spelling is a completely different phase for me. I have, in my head, I've just processed that while I'm studying for B's, it's a completely different Sahana than after B's. I have always been involved in spelling. There's no really big break from spelling until you're after 8th grade, which is where I am right now. And so life is so weird without it. And I definitely felt withdrawal. I was like, what am I doing with myself if I'm not doing spelling? But I mean, I'm kind of figuring it out. But during spelling, it's like a phase for me. It's like a period of growth. I would start off before school on like a weekday. I would wake up anywhere from 3:30 to 4, and I would begin studying. And that process includes printed lists that I would go and research. And so it's not just learn a sequence of letters in a specific order, because the brain can't take so much memorization on top of the stuff you have to learn in school. So what I would do is I'd make sure I would be able to write down the words, where it came from, the histories and origins of the words, because that helps you solidify your knowledge. So it's not just learning A, B, C, D, E. So that's what I would work on, and I would go through lists of different languages. So I explored most of the languages that have been impacted through English. So that includes all the Romance languages, so like Latin, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, as well as not many common languages that we usually use, so like Norwegian, Finnish, Swedish, Avestan, Babylonian, so more rare languages as well. And that was really cool for me because it felt like I was like traveling the world while I was sitting at my desk, because you get to see what other cultures value as much as we do, because the words that they have terms for that have been in English shows you that, like, oh, maybe Spanish, in Spain they value more like dancing and food and music, whereas in Italy you have more words for pastas and breads and foods. So that was really cool for me, because I was like, wow, this different regions value this more than others, and it was like almost learning history and about the world. So that was really cool. And so I would spend quite a bit of my time researching words, and when I wasn't doing that, I was taking notes and writing down. I had multiple textbooks and lots of strategies. I used online quizzing softwares, and I made my own actually as well, because I do code, and I hope to make apps in the future as well for fun. And I would also read quite a lot, and reading books that have pronunciation symbols, I would go through and learn the origins of words, the history of words, and I would make sure to make a variety of ways that I study so that it doesn't get rote for me. And learning is all about the way that you do it. There is the same process could happen with two different people. You could just learn a list of words and be done with it, or you can go explore the words and it'll solidify with you. And so I feel like now if I was given a list of words, I know exactly what to do with it, because I feel like spelling has just been ingrained into me, and it's taught me how to study as well. So the same methods that I use in spelling are primarily focused on handwriting, because the more effort you put into something, the better you remember it. So the more effort I would put into writing something, taking notes on it, the better it would solidify with me. So I did that for school as well. If there's something I wasn't understanding, like for example in math or history, I would just continuously write notes upon it, and it would come to me eventually. And the main thing for spelling when you take notes is you have to understand why. Because if the why isn't there, then it's not very important, because you're going to forget it. So for math, if I didn't understand a concept, I would write, okay, this is why this works. This is how we got that theorem. So that was really important for me, because I kind of could connect spelling to the real world. So that was my study process. And it's definitely developed over the years. When I was younger, I would start off with smaller lists because I was younger, so like 100 to 1,000 words. And now I studied in bulk, like anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000 words. So that was quite a lot.
Wow. So I heard you say you'd wake up anywhere from 3:30 to 4.
I thought I was crazy.
It sounds like during the process of studying, would you say you had to become noctivagant?
Yes. Except I would make sure that I had at least like 4 to 5 hours of sleep so I could function during the school day. But I think caffeine carried me throughout the entire spelling. I was like 4 or 5 cups a day. It was insane, because I had to go and sit at school as well, so I had to like not fall asleep. So it would be like coffee.
Did I pronounce that right, by the way? I just Googled like this year's list of words and saw that one on.
Noctivagant. It's Latin. It comes from nocti, meaning night, and vagant, meaning like awake.
Any
There
chance
you
you could
go.
spell it for us?
Yeah, you want me to spell it? Okay.
Yeah, spell it.
Okay, noctivagant. 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 There.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Thank you
That's-
so much.
you know, are you thinking about neurology or I mean, your understanding of how not only your mind works, but the mind works is like, I could just sit here and listen to you talk about that.
I would love to explore more fields before I kind of fully decide, because I feel like if I make a solid decision, I won't be able to explore more. So I want to have a kind of open mindset towards that. So right now, my main goals are to explore the field of all three sciences. I want to go learn more about biology, physics, and chemistry, because science is the building blocks of life. So I feel like that's the most important field for me. I feel like I can really relate to that. So I want to learn more about science and the field of STEM, especially how women are impacted by STEM, and then I will kind of make my decision about what my career choice will be. But right now, I'm doing a lot of learning with regards to software engineering and computer science on my own time, and app development. So I've become fluent in a few coding languages. I'm exploring machine learning, and on the side, I'm also learning about environmental sciences. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. I don't know what is left to say, honestly. You're amazing. You're an amazing young lady. We are proud of you. I know your parents must be so proud of you.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
I know if Kevin were here, he would want to acknowledge mom and dad
Say
and
that.
maybe
Or
little
brother.
brother. That we are grateful for you all being here in the community and for sharing Sahana's talents and cultivating that with us. We really are impressed and amazed with her.
Absolutely.
Is that your brother with your
Yes,
family?
he is. He's amazing. He's been so supportive for me, so really appreciate it.
That's
Aw.
great. Sahana, we're so proud of you. Thanks for being a great representation of comic culture and
Thank you so
everything
much.
you've done. So thank you for being with us tonight.
Come on out, we would love to shake your hand.
You want a picture of them?
Congratulations. We're so proud of you.
Get it while
Thanks for coming here tonight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. We're going to take a picture.
Yeah.
You get to stand in the middle, and we get to stand on both sides of it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, from one celebration to the next celebration, we're going to transition to our next celebration as well, and we are so fortunate to have an outstanding Ultimate Frisbee team. And I will turn it over to Coach G.A. for a little intro of what's going on. So let's welcome him to the stand, please. Thanks.
Thank you very much for having the Mason Ultimate team back out here. First, I need to thank the student activities, Miss Lori Allen and Lori Howard. Those two are just tremendous support for our organization, helping us get individuals out here getting all the prereqs done, and we couldn't do it without them. And then the facilities, Kim Ashman and Melissa Shadig. They provide us the space to do our sport that other schools and don't have that. And the relationship that we have with the athletic department, Scott Stemple, Kathy Crotty, and Dylan McKinney. They support us even though we're just a club sport, treat us with the same respect, and we really appreciate that, and it helps us grow, and we are growing. With that, I want to turn it over to our captains. Daniel Weissung is our senior. He's unfortunately in Alaska somewhere. But we have Adi Deepak and and William Weddingale, my son. They've been playing. This is their fourth year playing on the team, or fifth year playing on the team.
I'm GA's son, and first I'd like to thank the coaches, especially my dad, because being his son, I'm able to see how much time and effort he puts in to getting this club on the field and allowed to play. And I'd also like to thank Michael McCune, who's the girls' head coach for our ladies. They had an outstanding year. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it to states due to low numbers, but I want to encourage lots of women to come out and play too, because it's fun. And then Steve Tong is our green coach, and he's a great guy, great at developing the players for when they're upcoming to the Comets team. And then Jalal Sylvester, he was a alum of here. He unfortunately wasn't able to play at Mason State because COVID. but he was able to support our program very much. And then Kristen Baxter is basically the head coach of Comets, and she's wonderful. She's not only good for developing the players as technical players, but she's really good at helping us mentally and with spirit, which is an important part of the game. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Adi.
Yeah, I just want to add like one more thing. GA has done a lot. Like my brother he was also a Mason alumni class of 2019, and 6 years ago, like 2017 was like Mason's like last biggest year where they were able to go to nationals, and back then we were like the Mason Ultimate team that practiced like in the backfields at like Corwin Nixon, and now being able to like get the facilities for like the turf space and like Mason Elementary and like the indoor spaces has been really amazing for the program, and that's like pretty much in big part to GA, and I'd like to thank him for that. And then this year with COVID, like during like the last school year, it was very hard to like get numbers out for last year, and then this year we had a really big push, especially in the fall. We had over 80 members that we like helped develop through like the fall season, which was very open. It was low stress. We had one like big team, and all we did was to like get to know each other and like learn the game of Ultimate and the spirit of the game, which is pretty much the biggest part, which is having fun. Ultimate is a non-refereed sport, so it's our job to know the rules of the game and like referee on the field and off the field. So just teaching everyone the rules of the game while teaching them how to throw the frisbee, which is probably one of the more important parts of the game. And then, so coming into like the spring season, this is like the big, like the more important part of the season past the fall once we develop the players. And we were able to like, with the Mason weather we all know, where it might be sunny on Monday and then snowing on like a Wednesday, and luckily we get those snow days. Yeah. So it's been nice to like practice in all those kinds of weathers, get the indoor space. And this year we were able to travel to 2 tournaments in Kentucky, and hopefully next year we're looking to travel to North Carolina for another tournament, because they have a very big youth scene with Ultimate Frisbee that we would like to like compete in. They had 4 teams at the national tournament this year, and being able to play with the best of the teams will help us put us on the map. And then also go up to Chicago for a team, because they have Nequa Valley is a great team from that area that we would like to like meet and play with. So this final season, or this year, we ended up winning the state championship with the hard work of myself, William, Drew, Zachary, Sai, Owen, Joe, Ethan, Kaiden, Mike, and Sean. We're all here. And then there's a lot more people who are unable to make it here, but are that played on this team. And ultimately, we ended up at 25th in the nation after our state championship win. So we were finally put on the map. They only do top 25, so we're like right there at the bottom. But we're hoping for next year to like push up. We're losing a few seniors like Daniel Kaiden, Andrew Bowser, and they were very like important parts of our team, and we're hoping with their support as possibly like coaches and like next year. But we have a very young team that we're hoping to develop next year and move up in those rankings for like a top 10 appearance in the nation.
And then I have another thing to mention is this community, Mason, is very supportive of the Ultimate Frisbee program, which is very nice. And we could use your support going to nationals because it's in California. And it's gonna be a trip. And then one other thing is Worlds is coming up, which is basically like the World Cup of Ultimate Frisbee, and it's here at Mason. It's getting played right at our turf stadium. It's at the Lebanon Complex, and it's a great scene. We could use a lot of people out there to not only volunteer, but to watch and learn the game. and understand its values of spirit over, like, spirit's very high, which is the value, yeah.
What dates for that?
July 23rd through 30th.
That's pretty much all we have for right now.
That's excellent.
That is an awesome, incredible feat to go back to back. And I'm always intrigued about the unique spirit of this sport. And I love that you speak about it so joyously, because it really is a unique characteristic. And I think it builds a lot of character to be able to train and play in a sport like that and have that mindset. Congratulations to what you've done. It's really something else.
Have you guys been able to kind of keep connected with some of the alumni who you mentioned that 2017 run and follow their success? I know we've had a couple that have gone on to be selected to like a USA national camp and things like that.
So, yes, we stay connected. Ultimate Frisbee, it's like the community always comes back and helps, and I hope to, when I graduate, come back and help. And a lot of the players, the USA selectees, both the Agamis who were here in 2017, really helped me because I also got selected. So going in, I was kind of anxious and nervous, and they just helped have me understand what I'm going to be facing. And unfortunately, I didn't make it, but it was a great accomplishment. It was a great experience, and hopefully in 2025, I make the U20 team, or U24, so.
Yeah, my brother is a alumni, and they try and help like whenever they can. Of course, with like college and like they can't always come back here, but they're always willing to like support us like on social media and whatnot. And we always, but we hope to host a alumni game this year, but with conflicts with like schedules and a lot of them playing at college nationals actually, it was tough to find like the date that worked. But we had one last year, and that was lots of fun to just meet everyone again. And a few of both of us went up to college nationals actually. We had, like my brother was playing, the Agami brothers were playing, and then Jalal, he's not here today, but he was playing in the Color of Ultimate game, which represented like a lot of the BIPOC players and like people of color that were in the Mason Ultimate, or not in the Mason, in the Ultimate Frisbee community and the college scene, and that was really fun to see them supporting that and promoting people of color. Yeah.
So you say no referees. So then who do you argue with when someone gets a blown call? I just watched the NBA Finals. They're always arguing with the referees.
It's pretty much a dispute between like the people, but like the people on the field, and you have to like find the people with like the best perspective like on what the call was, and you can sometimes call for like the sideline players, but often like even the coaches can't be involved. The only suggestions they give are like like rule callings, because they're a little more experienced with that type of like information. And then on like once you get like a little bit to like the higher games and like the final semis of like the club championships or like the college championships, you'll have observers which act in part as referees, but the call is ultimately determined by the player. So if the player feels like they were fouled, they'll call a foul, and then the observer can give their opinion on that, but only if they're like asked to give the opinion. So they're like a one step down from like the players still. So it's not very hands-on as like a referee in like the NBA.
Got it. Well
So-
done, guys.
I recall the last time you guys won, you were here, the referee situation, because that just kind of stuck in my mind that it was really a character-building sport where who gets to referee themselves, and you have to be, honest and genuine and fair, and that's such a great character skill. I don't know how many sports would be able to succeed in doing that. Do you think you guys would play in college when you graduate high school?
A lot of my college decisions right now are based off of Ultimate. But yes, I'd love to play college. I love the competitiveness with upholding the integrity of the game, which is the spirit of the game. And I don't know.
What are some of the big, like the best college teams?
North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill.
Yeah, and then Brown University, University of Pittsburgh, there's Colorado, California, Berkeley, which is where my brother goes to.
Oh, wow. That's a good choices.
There's lots of colleges, like even small teams, like small colleges will have it. I know Andrew Bowser is going to Cedarville University. They have a team there. University of Cincinnati has a team. Ohio State has a good team as well. So there's lots of teams around us. It's just a matter of finding the community of Ultimate. And it's a relatively small community, which is why it's important to have the spirit of the game. And like we shouldn't be like bring other people, like the people in the community down if we want to make Ultimate as a whole like a bigger sport. So that's why it's super important to have like spirit of the game.
Mhm.
Excellent. Well, we'd like to shake your hands, and we would like for you to introduce, maybe you could call each of your teammates that are here up, and we'd like for you to come up and shake our hand and have a little gift for you.
Yeah, come on in.
So first we have Drew. Drew Gasson. And then Zach. Can you do that?
Yeah, so Zachary is a rising junior at Mason, and then Sai is also a rising junior. Owen is also a rising junior.
Congratulations.
Rising sophomore. Oh, rising sophomore. Joe is a rising junior. Ethan is a rising junior. Kaiden has graduated and he'll be attending Miami.
Congratulations.
And then Mike is a rising senior at Mason, and Sean is a rising senior at Mason. And then myself and William are both rising.
up here and we'll do it. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Nice job. Yeah.
Good job.
Nice job.
All right, you went the wrong way.
Congratulations. Nice presentation too. Congrats. Good job.
Congrats. All right, guys, let's line up and get a pic. Yep.
Is that your trophy?
This is our trophy.
Let me look at it.
Oh my gosh, that's
That is
awesome.
nice.
That's beautiful.
Right?
All guys down here.
Would you have to be 6 foot tall to be on the team?
And me, I don't know if anyone's willing to kind of get in the front. There we go. Excellent. All right. There we go. Yep. And Connie is there we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Excellent, congratulations. So appreciate your commitment.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Anything else, Coach?
Just the World's event that he talked about that's coming here in Mason. There's over 4,000 people coming here. It raises $10 million, is generated in the Warren County, so it is a really
Wow.
big deal. You know, they talk about volunteers. We're getting volunteers, but just if you can come out and watch it, I mean.
Is that at the one on 741, that
So it's
complex?
it'll be here Saturday
Okay.
on the 23rd. We'll do opening ceremonies. We'll have a learn to play, so for free for kids to learn how to play. But then we go out to Lebanon Sports Complex Sunday through Friday, 29 games going every 2 hours. There's 128 teams from 30 different countries. I mean, it is a
That's
massive
amazing.
event. This isn't small. And then we come back here and we'll have the men's, women's, and mixed. That's the other thing that's neat is there's a lot of mixed. There's 44 mixed teams that are competing. So I mean, the mix is actually the more fun as you get to that level playing co-ed. You know, either 4-3 or 3-4 mixed gender. So that's
And everyone's gonna be here on the 23rd for opening, here?
everybody.
Opening ceremony.
Everybody's going to be here. Those stands will be packed. I mean, they were packed last time it was here. I mean,
Great.
5,000, 6,000 people in
Awesome.
those stands. I mean, it's very vibrant. So
Wow.
it's not a little thing.
You
That's
send
amazing.
me the details, I'll make sure the board gets them, and then we'll,
Yes,
we'll get them out and push it out there.
Thank you all. We're on
Thanks
the
for
phone.
coming
Excellent.
out.
Off to
Thank you for
practice,
sharing
guys.
with us tonight.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tom. Thanks so much.
We will take a
Have a great
short
evening.
break if you would like to leave.
They know the drill.
Talking to the wall. Aiming right at the wall. So much fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.
They're literally going to practice right now.
Are they?
Thank you, Sahana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Congratulations
They're
again.
gracious enough to give us the hour, because I know they have practice going right now.
Aw.
This
What a
may be
great group
foolish
of
question,
kids.
But do we have any speakers here
Not
tonight?
tonight.
Okay, so moving on to item 7, resolutions. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second. Thank you. Comments or questions, Jonathan, or Sean, I should say? Would you like to discuss?
I can take the two appropriation resolutions. I don't know if Jonathan or Amy might want to comment on the other one, but the two appropriation resolutions, one for fiscal year '22, one for fiscal year '23. This serves a couple purposes. These resolutions are finalizing our budgetary work and appropriations for fiscal year '22, and then the fiscal year '23 allows us to start spending dollars at the beginning of the fiscal year, which is July 1st. So we will approve these, submit them to the county auditor, and again, it's just part of our budgetary compliance with state laws. So
And this is a part of our normal process every year with our
it
budget.
is every year in June we do this. Yep.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
I don't. No, the next one is just the CTE waiver that we have out here. Amy, is there anything you'd want to highlight on that?
It's just an annual requirement as a result of a state law that was passed in 2014. So while we offer a wide variety of wonderful elective courses and other courses at our middle school, none of them are technically CTE or career technical education offerings, and so the state requires that we pass this waiver as a result.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that explanation. I did have a question about that, which you just answered. Any other questions or comments?
Not at this time.
Seeing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 8, non-district funded positions. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? These are positions for our district where the district does not pay for those positions. They are funded elsewhere. Sean, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 9, administrative personnel. We have a resignation, and this is Crystal Clark from the central office. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And this is one we hate to see go.
Yes.
Done a great job.
Yeah, we do. She has accepted another position, and we, as you mentioned, we tried to talk her into staying, but to no avail, so we will wish her well.
Yes, we do. Any other comments or conversations, sorry. And seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 10, contracted personnel, independent contracts. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, explanations?
No, just recognizing that we do, I believe, still over 75 languages spoken throughout the district, and so you'll continually see throughout the year us securing interpreter services, translation services for our families to make sure that not only are we translating documents, but we also have people in place to help in meetings and to make that, remove any barriers for our families that are coming to us and that we're serving. There's also on here Tier 2 counseling services. We do have continued counseling services through prevention and wellness throughout the summer. I believe this is for summer care as well, and some additional services for specific situations throughout our district.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 11, certified personnel. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
And a
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, discussion?
Yeah, on section 11, we have a resignation on here for Micah heading over to Lebanon to coach some football and to teach over there. So just wish him the best. He's taught here in our district for a while. So always thank you for the service and hope for the best for him. And then you also see some new appointments on here. We have been talking with new teachers. It's always an exciting time of the year to bring on new staff. What happens is we have either teachers retiring or teachers going on to either maternity leave, or teachers will be relocating to different districts. Different things like that happen throughout our year. So we backfill those positions quickly with new folks, and you'll see that list on here. So we want to welcome all of those folks and congratulate them. Some are on their first 1 year, some are on 2-year provisions, so just depending on how they're coming into our district from their current positions. So, and I get to meet with all of them, so it's always just a great pleasure to meet all of them and welcome them on and talk a little bit about our comic culture as they come on board.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Abstain.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
3-0.
Next is item 12, supplemental personnel. Is for new appointments. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Seeing none. Sean?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 13, resolution for hiring non-certified personnel. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, discussion?
No, just thank Tom Morris. He does a lot of our site management, but this is just a reorganization of the time allotted there. But thank you him for his time for doing that.
See any other discussion? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
4-0.
Next item is item 14, classified personnel, superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. And any comments, questions, discussion?
Yeah, on item 14, you'll see there in item A is a resolution to suspend classified staff. That is reduction in force. What's happening here is we have a program that oversees our clubs, oversees our after-school and before-school care. During COVID, we saw those numbers go down significantly and our funds go down significantly. So we're doing some reorganization with a retirement on our books here for item B coming out of that area, and we wish them the best in their retirement. That also prompts an opportunity for us to do some reorganization. So that's what we're doing on this piece, and then later on in the agenda you'll see us approve a job description for this new role that we're going to reorganize into, and hopefully that will take care of the needs for this year. We reevaluate those needs each year in this program for the before and after school, and also the clubs that we do through the district. And that's Lori Fox Allen's group. You heard that referenced even earlier today with GA and some of the support they provide for our clubs.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments?
I just want to take a moment to acknowledge, that we appreciate that as our needs expand and contract, we're constantly monitoring that and adjusting as it sees fit, especially as we, when we talk about the last, responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars and not, just letting a position maintain itself when there maybe isn't the need. And so I think, sometimes there's the perception that the district only grows or that it only expands, and this is an instance of that, going in the other direction, so.
Good point, yep.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
4-0.
And next item is item 15, certified personnel additional duties. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Comments and discussion?
Item 15, what it really recognizes is just ongoing work that happens throughout the summer. There is extended care or extended school year for students across our district. Actually started today with some of our students that just need a bit of a transition plan so that they don't lose any of their wonderful momentum from one year to the next. They are over at MECC and throughout the district. So thank everyone that steps up to do this. They are paid to do this, but it's also people, they've worked their normal contract, and then we're asking them to come back and start another one for the summer to help our students. So thank all of them for doing that as well.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 16, classified personnel additional duties. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And comments?
Just what I said earlier for the certified, this is our classified staff doing the same summer work and supporting our kids. And there's also some other things on here where, we prepare during the year. We're super busy with our buses. We have about 120 buses in our fleet. Some people don't realize that, but during the summer gives us time to get all of those deep cleaned and make sure they're ready and checked out and certified for the next school year. So you'll see some of that show up on here as well as the extended school year support.
The district actually doesn't really shut down for the summer.
That's a misconception. Yeah, we definitely don't shut down. We get a lot of long-term planning and a lot of detailed work done during the summer.
Yep, things are still going on. Any other comments? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
4-0.
Next is item 17, action items, superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Jonathan, is there anything on this that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, just a quick walkthrough. There's so much great work that happens with our learning and our learning experience team. So item A, you'll see approval of new curriculum resources. Those were up for a first hearing or first reading, I guess, last time around. And I want to thank Amy and her team. They do just a fabulous job of setting up a process that goes through the whole entire year, essentially, for people to get to this place. So this doesn't just show up. It goes through many iterations, discussions, and thoughtful review before it comes to here. So thank their team for all that hard work that shows up on item A, and feel free to look through that, and if you have further questions, let us know as well. Item B is every year we go through and we have books. Books are friends, and we love books, but sometimes books they're loved, and they get tattered, and we have to dispose of them, and so we clean out every year, and then we get new books. And so you'll see MECC has gone through that process thoroughly this year, and so that we're thanking them for going through. It's a lot of work, but then it also allows us to get fresh new books in there as well. And we love that they're worn out. That's always a good sign. Kids are using them and loving them. Job description I mentioned earlier with our assistant student activities director. That's what this is. So that's a reorganization and tightening up. So taking that staff size down to the size that we think we really need right now. And if the needs grow, then we'll expand that later. But right now, that's where they are. Gap conversion, I believe, is Sean. Want to speak into that?
It is. So gap conversion, our fiscal year end is June 30th. So this allows us to contract with the Local Government Services Division of the Ohio Auditor State's Office. They will prepare our gap statements and our CAFR and submit those back to the district and to the state for our part of our annual reporting.
The next one on here is the membership to Ohio Purchasing Council. We have that membership because it gives us the access to purchase things at a state price. And you'll notice even on here, the replacement of the cooling tower, I believe, is actually, we use that state pricing to keep those prices capped. And so we're not, I believe that's the best way that I could think of explaining that.
Yeah, it allows us to take advantage of consortium pricing, so using group discounts and things. So this membership allows us to do that. And then as Dr. Cooper mentioned, we will use this contract to purchase the cooling tower at a discounted rate.
Which is an item we discussed in Facilities Committee this week. And we do, I think, a great job. Todd Petrie on that, running that committee, does a great job at planning for expenses to maintain this district and keep it running with minimal, not minimal expense, but at the least possible expense.
And his proactive planning and having his whole team around that definitely helps, so we're not always reacting to a major problem and trying to stay ahead of that with some of our long-term planning. So that's what item F is as well, getting that cooling tower replaced so that we can keep the place cooled. But we have a whole cycle for those, and so we're not trying to do it all at once.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
4-0.
Thank you. Next item is 18. It is the treasurer's report. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And Sean, I will.
Sure, a couple
ask-
things to point out. So items A through D on here are our monthly reports and things we have on here for review and approval. And half of item G falls into that typical monthly reports as well. Items E and F and half of G are really related more to fiscal year end type of things. Again, as I've mentioned a couple times, June 30th is our fiscal year end, so we're in the process of working through our fiscal year end closeout procedures. Item E allows us to conduct any transfers or advances we might need to conduct as part of that fiscal year end process. Item E is actually item F is the amended certificate of resources, which is the revenue side of the resolutions we approved earlier. Those appropriations were on the expense side. This is on the revenue side. So again, we will submit this to the county auditor along with those expenditure appropriations. And then the other half of item G, the transfers and advances, these are the specific ones that we know at this point. And as we work through the closeout process, if there are any others, we will take care of those and then submit those back to the board here at the July meeting for approval. The other half of G is donations. And so you'll see in there, there's kind of a long list of donations, anywhere from anything from individuals to support groups in the community like Kiwanis, to our PTO groups, to GE Foundation. Just a lot of partners, both here locally or even nationally, that help us contribute to programs that are providing opportunities for kids. So always appreciate our supporters and partners and donors.
Yeah, we're always very blessed with donations in this community, from this community to our district. And again, just to mention, the advances and transfers are typical and on this timing every year as a part of our normal budget process. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Sean?
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
4-0.
Next up are our committee reports. Jonathan, do you want to
Yeah, I
run
can
that, or would you want?
run through them. So I'll start with, we had our DEI council meet, so I'll turn it over to Tracy. You want to give a quick summary of?
Sure. It was a really great opportunity for us to see our high school student leadership team present about the conference that they put on this year and their hopes for how they can continue to kind of expand that into the future and look at actually bringing in other schools to learn with and from as we all do that work together. And then we also took a look at our panorama survey data, particularly around belonging. You know, at the beginning of this school year, knowing we were bringing on online learners and in-person learners, our real focus as a district was on our inclusion principle. And so our DEI council has been following along in that work and plugging in, and we wanted to kind of report back on how we were doing with some of the different measures. Looked at a lot of areas that looked great. Also some areas that we know that we want to continue to do work and really use. The nice thing with the panorama data is it gives us a snapshot in time, but it also does allow us to compare ourselves to other suburban schools nationally, to start to get some ideas of where we are in that, knowing that having all of our students feel safe and seen and stretched and supported is really important.
Thanks so much, Tracy. We have the Facilities Committee, which we mentioned earlier. The items that we cover on the Facilities Committee, one was the replacement of the cooling tower, I believe it was. We also looked at a little deeper dive into the conversation around turf on the baseball field. So that's been an ongoing conversation for a while, but the study of that to see, is that the right decision at this point in time, and how does that work out with our whole financial plan with the PI budget? So we've reviewed that as well. We also looked at some safety conversation, and then we got an update on some of the facilities projects that we have going on. And for those that have been just paying attention to some of our conversations, when we sold Western Row and we began to settle into our buildings, one of the things that we were committed to doing is waiting until we settled in to decide the next steps on any kind of facilities movements in terms of, do we need to look at classroom space? What is our class size? How do we continue to keep our commitment to what we would term as Mason quality and what our community has asked us for? And so that's what we've been doing over this last year, now that we've all been in school. There was a couple years where we had some online and some in school, and so it's taken us a minute to settle in. So we've been looking at facilities. We'll continue to give updates to our community and to our staff as we learn more in that process. But he gave us Jim Boris gave us an update on what that the facilities are and where we are on that during our facilities meeting. And I think that was everything covered in there. Yep. The next one on here is Finance Committee. Sean?
So Finance Committee actually met this morning, and we had two primary topics. One was to look at our health insurance renewals for fiscal year 23, and the other was our property and casualty renewals. For our medical insurances, most our main areas today were the medical and the dental. We are self-insured as a district, and so our renewal takes place starting September 1st. So we go through a process each year where we look at claims data and historical numbers and use actuarial data and recommendations and work with our broker to set rates for next year. Being self-insured for our medical and dental and vision and workers' comp has actually been just a really wise decision made years ago by previous boards and previous administration. It's really allowed the district to save a lot of money over the years, and so this is just part of our process each year to set those premium rates. So we went through that this morning, and then the other side of that was the property and casualty insurance. So took a look at the different quotes we have from carriers and working with our broker on that side as well. And that policy actually renews July 1st. So those were our topics this morning.
That's great. Thanks, Sean. Mason Schools Foundation, I know I gave an update on our OKRs and where we are, but Tracy, if you want to run through, I know there's other really exciting things that we were covering in financial decisions.
Well, that's right. As a Mason Schools Foundation, we were so proud and pleased when we hit $1 million, and we still have over $1 million, but the market's been tough in the last few weeks. So it's a hard time to come look, and we were really coming at our year end and looking at our investment strategy, particularly for our endowment fund. Over time, our goal as a Mason Schools Foundation board has been to have $2 million in our endowment that could then, if we ever had a year where we had no fundraising happen, it was a pandemic or something, we could still have $100,000 to fund our commitment, which is what the foundation has been giving back every year for now about 7 years, running $100,000 back in grants every year. So we did do what lots of other people did, look at those the last couple of weeks and go, ouch, but know that we felt good about our investment strategy, and we actually made some determinations on wisely knowing we're fairly conservative always, because it takes us a whole lot of time to raise those dollars, and we want to make the best use of them, but we also know that we sort of take the long view always. And so feeling like we feel good about being able to do all of our grants that we're going to do, and we'll the one significant probably change, we didn't discuss it as much, but just for the community to know, we are not planning our gala this fall, but instead are going to be doing a kind of more community event that will coincide kind of with the with our unveiling of the monument, which we built about the same time that COVID all happened. And so just like we still are hearing a few things that got postponed, that was one of them. We do plan to have a moment to come together, and we do plan to have a silent auction again this fall. So if you were waiting to get dressed up and go to the Manor House, not this year, but next year for that, but we will have some ways for the community to give back.
That's great. I was going to say, are there ways that our community that are watching right now could give back? And you're going to put those out there.
We will make sure that they can bid on lots of fun opportunities and experiences.
What I love about it is $100,000 gets poured back into classrooms to teachers to take us above and beyond and give that advantage to our kids. So that's always a great thing. So excited for the work the foundation's been doing.
And there's always a way for someone out there watching the board meeting by way of other communication to get involved and to donate to the foundation.
Yep, and if they want to donate their time and volunteer, we take that just as well.
Yeah.
Great.
That's all we have for committee reports for today.
Thank you very much for everyone. The next one is item 20, legislative update.
Yeah, I have one update because it's a topic that some have heard about. It's House Bill 99. It was a House bill that was in quick response to the horrific school shootings in Texas. And so when that came through as a bill, the idea of House Bill 99 is to reduce the amount of training required for someone to carry arms in a school setting. For us at Mason, we're super fortunate because we reviewed this same conversation back in 2018 during the horrific shootings of Parkland and others around the country. And at that time, we were able to begin starting a process, even before that, with the city, a conversation about how can we develop a safety team that is basically a division of the police department that's dedicated directly to Mason City schools, so that we would have not just, SROs, it's a great model as well, but this would be the next level, kind of the platinum level of care for safety, and that is this, you have dedicated police division just over our schools. And the reason that became important to us is because when we started to look at the safety of the city of Mason during the school day, the majority of, and the way that, and I love this by our city manager, the way they looked at it was the majority of heartbeats were taking place on our campus during the school day, because a lot of our folks work outside of Mason, or they're traveling around. So, and that's changed now because people are working from home. So I know that that's shifted a little bit when we were first talking. But the idea that we would always have police officers that are highly trained on our campus, but there's a consistency to not just be in the responsiveness of them and being on our campus, but also the relationship piece and setting them in so that our students know them, that they're involved. And so what that does for us is it extends beyond the walls of our school. When we have a concern, and I can give example after example. We just had a Monday night, we were working on a situation, and we're working with the police late into the evening on a situation to care for a student that was in need and working with their family. When we had a young graduate who just passed, working closely with our police, who were liaisons to the police department in Butler County, and just working with them in terms of making sure we had our details together so that we could support the family in need. So that police presence is not just a benefit for during the day, but it's a benefit to us beyond the day and beyond the walls of our schools. So we have no intention of moving forward with House Bill 99 in the way that it's put together. Local control is what we want, and so this is a permissive bill, meaning if the board would choose to and want to change that policy, we would have to actually go into policy JFCJ and change that policy, and I would not recommend that we do that, and it's because we have a plan in place and that We want our teachers to focus on teaching. We want our teachers to focus on relationship building. We want our teachers not to have the burden of that on them here at Mason City Schools, and we're fortunate to have a good support plan in place that they don't have to have that. And so I've talked to some of our teachers about that. We do have some open meetings coming up for them to discuss that as well, so they understand the details. But if anybody out there hears this and wonders, well, what else, why would that be in place in our state? Well, there are school districts that have different views on that. There are communities that do not have all the resources we have. So I think that's a different conversation per local community. But in Mason City Schools, we have a great plan in place. I don't know if I answered the question, but
Thank
that
you.
hopefully will, there's a lot going on in the legislative work. A lot of that's gonna pop back up right around fall. And so we have other bills that we're watching closely, but that's the big one that came through and was signed off on recently. And it made the news. And, you know, when something makes the news and hits headlines, not all the details are always there ready for people, because you might just catch it in passing. And so, yeah, we're fortunate to have what we have. Any questions from the board or anything else I might have missed?
And as just a matter of our doing business, we keep a mind on security and what our plan is for our families and our staff and our students. We think about it frequently. We don't just think about it when something horrible happens and we choose then to reevaluate our plan. We think about it a lot just in the normal course of doing business.
Yeah, it's a 24/7 thought on our minds, always the safety of our kids. We have a safety committee that meets on a regular basis. That's reviewing the best policy in place. Our team, and you know, we all know this, there's no perfect anything, but the things that we do have in place, I feel confident that we have good things in place. We're constantly reviewing everything from, do we have the best systems for our doors? Because all of our doors are monitored, and looking at that technology. We were just looking at technology today and making sure we have the right technology for making sure we know that our high school kids are always safe all the time. And so if we ever had to evacuate the building and 3,600 kids run into different directions, how do we know and how do we account for that? And so we're reviewing that, and we're reviewing how do we communicate with families. And most of the time, we're spending a lot of our hours talking about proactive safety. How are we addressing the mental health of our students? What are the supports we have in place? Because we know when you look across the country and study these situations, a lot of the situation is just, there's stories behind them, and the stories, we've had the national, the FBI and everyone come here to our location. It was hosted over at one of the local church buildings, and they had all of the safety teams from around the region come to this location and listen in and what they've studied with some of the different school shootings. And almost 9 times out of 10, there is a story behind it where there were signs of concern around a student that was in distress or depressed or anxiety. And those signs were being placed out there. And so that's why we have the tip line in place. That's why we have trained staff. That's why we have a peer-to-peer suicide prevention program in place. A lot of those layers are in place so that we can begin to see symptoms early. And if we see symptoms, then we have a support system to get to the root of what that fruit is showing, so that we can actually get to the bottom of, can we support quickly a student, a family, and so that it does not manifest in something that's more tragic at that moment. So, and if families are listening to this or hearing this, I would really encourage them. Our tip line, it works, and we are watching it 24/7. And it is a great way for us to see some of those symptoms quickly, and for us to reach out and start to investigate things with our prevention and wellness team. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Moving on to item 21 is administrator commentary. Tracy?
Just, summer is such a busy time. Right now, I want to thank the board for giving us the go-ahead. You approved back, I want to think it was in December, the opportunity to revamp our website. And so I have been working, and we're working really hard to try to make sure that first week of July we have a cleaner, clearer, fresher website that better tells our story and that really meets the needs of, primarily our website is really supposed to be helping prospective families and prospective employees who are we look at our traffic and know those are the people who are using our website the most, but we also know it's an important place for families to be able to get the information they need right when they need it. And so we've tried to put some things into place. We'll have a section called Find It Fast that is intuitive and that gives categories of things that are even just the most searched items that we may not even understand where your brain would think of it is. That's going to be a place where you can go, a better organization of just calendar events and things like that. So it won't be perfect when it launches. There'll be lots of opportunities for feedback. The great thing about it is all in-house, and we're able to change things, build pages easily, including the board's pages. And so looking forward to that being done so that we can start to focus on some of the other important work that is there. It's a labor of love.
It is important, so we thank you for that.
Just make sure my phone number goes back to my wife.
We'll say, Jessica, what
Yes,
do you think?
please.
Amy, next.
I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that while it is summer, the learning for our staff and our educators continues, and just lots of really great work, and we're so grateful and appreciative of their commitment. So you might remember last month there was a long list of various summer work that was approved, teachers coming together to collaborate around curriculum work, developing shared learning for students around our big rock that's sort of vertically aligned from MEC all the way to the high school. If you drove by our buildings last week, you would have seen a number of cars in the parking lot. We had teachers from MECC and ME and MI coming together to really dig in deep to some great learning around how to create caring, connected classroom communities through a responsive classroom training, carrying on work that's been happening at MEC now for a long, long time. And then also at the middle school, a large group of teachers coming together to talk about CREW and its next iteration, that advisory time at the middle school. So it's summertime creates a different kind of space for educators to come together, to think differently, to reflect. But we don't take it for granted that our teachers and our other staff members are going to give their time in that way. And so just really appreciate it. And a big shout out also to the people who helped to organize and design this time, our learning experience designers in each of our buildings and our building administrators.
Thank you. Sean?
So a couple things. One of the things we talked about on the agenda tonight was there were several fiscal year-end things. And so I wanted to thank the fiscal team for the process they're going through now. We'll go through over the next few weeks to close out fiscal year 2022 and open fiscal year 23. There's a lot of detailed, thorough work that goes into that, so we appreciate that. Second thing, we did mention briefly tonight, Crystal Clark's resignation. I want to take another minute and just thank her for her 7 years of service at the district. Health insurance is something that is pretty unique. There's only one benefits specialist in the district, and that was her. And health insurance is often a very personal thing for staff members and employees and families, and so I want to thank her for the customer service she's provided to our staff all across the district that helps calm their fears if they have them and be able to focus on kids and do their jobs. So wish her well. She got recruited by the American Cancer Society to perform a similar function for them. So on to bigger and better things for her, but thank her for her service.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Sean. I want to echo, Sean mentioned the Treasurer's Department and all the work that they do. This is coming to the year end, and so I appreciate the integrity that they take to get the work done well and to make sure that we're all in good standing and to hold us accountable to the things that we are doing so that we have the long view. So I want to thank Sean and your leadership and everything that you all do, because I know it's a lot of work during the summer. So thank you. I also want to all the families that celebrating just a spirit of independence, whether it's Juneteenth or July 4th or whatever you're celebrating this summer, we're right between both, and I just recognize that that's a big moment for families and for our community. So I hope everyone's able to take advantage of those moments. This year, and also just the work that board members are doing. Some people don't see all of that, but we have Kevin's not here today, but we started early this morning, I think 7:30 for some of us, and I know Ian and Kevin were there with treasurers or with finance committee, and we have those committees ongoing. So I know board members show up here on a couple Tuesdays in the evening and spend 4 or 5 hours with me, but I know you're doing lots of other work and appreciate your work, and those are long days, so we'll get you out of here soon. 'cause I know you have other jobs going on as well. And then I guess I'll just end with just appreciation for our community's generosity. In about a 3-day span, we had a big storm that knocked out electricity. Right before that, we had a 5K. Love Like JJ 5K raised, I think, somewhere in the ballpark of maybe $20,000 or more. Some number in there was being thrown around to donate money to support our students that participate, our student athletes that have special needs that participate in the Challenger League, which I have one of those little friends over there, and it's great to see them come together on a Saturday and play, but they're raising money for an adaptive ballpark field, and it's really neat to see our community, and they're close. I have the inside information on that. They're getting closer, so just keep pushing into that. So that's just a great moment of generosity. And then we had a big storm and just a tragedy of losing a house. And two of our staff members and students lost a house when it was struck by lightning. And to watch our community within 24 hours raise over $25,000 or so just to help them, it's probably beyond that now, but just to see a staff member supporting another staff member and seeing that come together all within a 3-day period. And then the tragedy of a student passing in just a tragic accident, and watching families come around and support them, not only financially, but just loving them, caring for them. I was meeting with them just this weekend and listening to them talk about their just appreciation for our school community. I mean, that is when you're a superintendent and you show up to be with a family that's grieving the loss of their kid, and to hear them talk with such just graciousness towards your school community and all the teachers and people that have reached out to them and the student body. It gives you a lot of pride to be in a place that's truly acting and not just talking about care and generosity, but doing it and doing the work in the hardest moments. So I wanted to recognize that for our community and thank everyone for whoever pitched in on that.
Thank you so much for
Thanks.
that. Next up would be our board commentary. And Ian, why don't we slide to the left to start tonight?
Echo Amy's comments. I did see the parking lot full last week, so I'm always just in awe of the work that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that August through May goes as well as can be, that those experiences when your child shows up, those professionals at the front of the classroom have had training and they know how to care for your student and help get them to be their best selves in the classroom and learn. So I'm always just blown away by that. Please continue to keep Giants family in your thoughts and prayers and hearts. Unimaginable to lose a child. He's gonna be missed. He was a great son. He's gonna be a father. So for the Vincent family as well, to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And then multiple tragedies struck, and I'm always just it makes my heart full to see how this community responds to adversity together. And we know it doesn't take that to see that. We have a list of people who give generously to this school, to various charitable causes. So I'm proud to sit here and represent this community that is really the epitome of putting others first. And that just makes me all the more humbled to sit here and represent Mason. So really excited to see where we go in 23 under Dr. Cooper's leadership, and I'm expecting big things. So send it back to you.
Charles?
I've just enjoyed seeing a lot of comments out and about, enjoying the summer and doing different things throughout the community, whether they're students or teachers or staff or other folks. Hopefully that everybody that is able can take advantage to unplug and recharge and enjoy enjoy these summer days, and we look forward to turning the calendar over here in a little over a week. So that's all I've got.
Desiree?
Just briefly, it was such a treat to have Sahana here tonight and the Frisbee team. Our students just never stop amazing me. I mean, you just think, like, how does it get, I mean, how can you be that articulate and going into a freshman? It's amazing. It's just a tribute to the family and the school, the community. It was just really cool. And then the spirit of the Ultimate Frisbee Club, my goodness. They were such a fun group of kids. And thank you, Dr. Cooper, for arranging the superintendent presentations. It's so fun, like, just to see our kids come in and be recognized for this amazing work they do. So I feel the same way as Ian. I humbly am so appreciative to get to serve our community in this capacity.
I guess I'll just sum up a lot of what's happened recently in this community. Is we're blessed. We're blessed to live here. We're blessed to have our children be raised here, because this community continues to bless each other. And I'm just grateful for that. So with that, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.